What are the opinions of mobsters about other gangsters? Let's check it out. I'm James Gladwish and welcome to OC Shorts, bringing you detailed historical snapshots of the American Mafia and other organised crime. Feel free to subscribe if you like that sort of thing. Before his lengthy incarceration for conspiring to murder Gambino boss John Gotti, Louis Bobby Manna was Consigliere to Genovese crime family boss Vincent Gigante. The New Jersey-based mobster had come up in the Genovese crime family's famous Greenwich Village crew, in his role as a senior member of the Gambino crime family. Sammy the Bull Gravano had dealings with Bobby Manna in the 1980s. Gravano would say about Bobby Manna,
"Yes, I knew a lot about him. I met him a bunch of times. We had taken over. When there was the commission case, Carmine Persico wanted to admit that there's a mafia. And, the Ku Klux Klan could admit, all these things could admit, we could admit, and it won't be such a crime." Nobody agreed with him. Me and Frankie the Chico went to Bobby Manna, and we brought that question. John Gotti asked us to go to him. And we went to him, we said, he wants this to happen. What's your opinion, your family? And Bobby says, absolutely and totally not. We don't agree with that. You cannot. He took an oath. You can't admit that there's a mafia. So, and Bobby, when we talked about something, I remember him telling us one time, "Sammy, Frankie, I'm not going to discuss business and business deals. All I discuss is Cosa Nostra. I'm the Consigliere. That's all I talk about. I'm not interested in businesses or anything like that. Take it up with somebody else." So he was really strict about the way he was. He was very strong in his crew.
Johnny Joe Spirito is a Bonanno Crime Family mobster who was the driver in the hit on powerful Bonanno family member Gerlando George from Canada Sciscia. According to former Bonanno family associate Frank Fiordolino, Johnny Joe Spirito showed some remorse at being involved in the murder of George from Canada, a hit ordered by family boss Joe Massino in 1999. Frank Fiordolino would tell me,
so let's move on to more kind of your era, the 1990s. There's a few names here which are obviously from all over the five boroughs, but you might obviously be familiar with. Obviously from like the Bronx, we're looking at Johnny Joe Spirito Sr. Were you familiar with the name?
Of course. I met Johnny Joe in jail. Good guy, real nice guy. Kind of remorseful about the Giorgio thing. I remember that. I didn't talk about it, but I think on his sentencing he made a comment like, "Make George rest his soul," because maybe he felt that Joe just talking about Joe Massino, and a lot of people felt that way, especially after Sal talk and everything. Were misled.
Well, that's going to be a question actually, because obviously George from Canada was actually a capable guy himself. He was on the three captains here, and I believe, according to some reports, he's the one who actually finished off Sonny Red. And then obviously nearly 2 decades later, he gets into a car with Patti DeFilippo, with Johnny Joe driving, and on Massino's orders is killed. So it'd be interesting. What was the reaction on the street at the time when George from Canada was killed?
None. You got to remember, and I keep telling people this, and they're like, you talk about like resurfacing of Sicilians in the 2000s and 10, and the Iron Man and all that. And that died a long time. That died in '84. And I say it all the time. It died with the hit on Bonventry, and then a couple of people, the Pizza Connection cases. A lot of people, especially my friends that we grew up with as kids, while we were growing up, we didn't have those powerful figures in our life. They were either jailed, dead. I wish we would have at times, because we had people that were just kissing Massino's ass. When we got in trouble, you were on your own. We had to do a lot of things by ourselves. So we didn't have that. You understand? So yeah. Because the Sicilians were gone by that time.
Michael Mickey Boy Paradiso is a Gambino crime family mobster with a fearsome reputation. Mafia legend states that in his early career, he once punched John Gotti in the face. And more recently, a few years ago, Michael Paradiso was rumoured to be at one point the Gambino crime family's consigliere. Throughout his mob career, Mickey Boy Paradiso spent several lengthy spells in prison. On one of these stretches, he served time with future Bonanno Crime Family Captain Dominic Cicali. Cicali would recall of Mickey Boy.
In the 1990s, you spent some time in Allenwood prison, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And when you were there, you spent some time with the likes of Mickey Boy Paradiso, Louis Dedone, Arnold Squitieri. Did those guys try and put you off a life of crime, or did they kind of school you more in the life?
As far as putting me off of the life of crime, no. They would never do something like that. They actually, it's a breathing ground, those prisons, for recruitment. That's when they see the true colors of a man, how they act in prison, how they do their time. And that group in Allenwood, there's 3 facilities, actually, 4 facilities. You have a camp, you have the FCI low institution, you have an FCI, which is a medium institution, that's where we were all at, and then you have the penitentiary. But the entire group that was there, there had to be anywhere from 20 to 30 made guys there, all different crime families. And it was just fun. I mean, everybody was laughing, joking. Louis Dedone was a true sport gentleman because we would joke with him a lot. Just down-to-earth wise guys. And that's what I gravitate to. And they're serious, too. You have serious guys there as well, but everybody was down-to-earth.
And I think when we spoke before once, you said that Mickey Boy had another nickname. Was it Attila the Hun?
Yes, we had nicknamed him in jail Attila the Hun. And because he was just a powerful guy. You look at him, you would think he was out of shape, an older guy. But he was strong, solid. And he had no feeling in one arm. And he would hit you with that arm, not even realizing the power behind it. It would hurt. It would hurt, and he would feel no pain because he had no feeling.
Mickey Boy tends to have a ferocious reputation, but I saw you on Jeff Nadeau's podcast, and you've referenced him as a sweetheart. Was he able to laugh at himself?
Yes, and actually that I'm reflecting back now because you brought him up with the nickname. We called him Attila the Hun. We used to make fun of him because he was solid. A solid man, and we used to say, "Uh-oh, here comes Superman!" Dun, 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 dun. And Bruno would do that all the time to him, and he'd be like, "All right, don't tell him I did that. Don't tell him I did that. He'll cripple me. He'll cripple me." But it was just funny. It was hilarious. We really enjoyed one another there.
Salvatore Catalano was a Bonanno Crime Family mobster who has sometimes been described as the head of the Sicilian-born faction of the Bonanno crime family. Catalano and the likes of Cesare Bonventre and Baldo Amato were Sicilian mobsters often referred to as the Zips. Catalano was a prominent figure in narcotics trafficking, and at one point in the early 1980s, Catalano was the acting boss of the Bonanno family, while official family boss Philip Rustivistelli was in prison. Sicilian-born crime family associate Frank Fiordolino shares his knowledge of the powerful Salvatore Catalano.
So another interesting, powerful Sicilian within the Bonannos I'd like to touch on, I don't know how much knowledge you have, is obviously Salvatore Catalano. I mean, how much do you know about him in terms of his kind of influence?
Not much in a criminal aspect, but I know what I know. He was very tight with money. He had a bakery. With all the money he was making, and just hearing from friends of his later on, money that he would make in his drug business. He had a baker that he would pick up at 4 a.m. still, and made sure he had a ride to work because he didn't drive. So he was kind of like, I think, figuring that this run of his was never going to end. Because I mean, if you're picking up your baker at 4 a.m, you're not living like, you're not going to see 80, and actually he did, but you know what I mean. He was a money guy. He was a very good money guy. He had an import record store I remember that on Knickerbocker Avenue. He was selling a lot of imports, Italian colognes, Italian records, Italian magazines, you know, and little by little he climbed up the ladder.
In the comments below, let me know your thoughts on the topic covered in this video. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching.